Dr. Wolf, how are you?
Morning, Dr. Caliendo. Wonderful today.
Great. We have a chance for just a couple of minutes to talk about this exciting course that's going to run for the first time with a travel component to Berlin. The course is called Berlin. It's called Music and Politics in Berlin from Punk to Opera. And
Looking forward to it.
let's introduce ourselves to the students. I'm Dr. Stephen Maynard Caliendo. I'm Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences and Professor of Political Science at North Central.
And I am Dr. Gregory H. Wolf. I am a professor of German. And I've been taking students abroad to Germany now for about 25 years. The last 15 years through North Central College during what we used to have as our D term. So my program used to be about a 3-week program, half of which concentrated in Berlin.
Right. And so this particular course is mostly in Berlin, although we will have a little excursion to Potsdam and to Sachsenhausen. But we are going to focus most of our time in the city, thinking about the way music is both influenced by Berlin and has been throughout history, as well as the influence that music has had on the politics, the history, and the culture of Germany broadly and Berlin in particular. Maybe talk a little bit about, if you would, what you're most excited about on the trip portion of it. We'll get to, before this video ends, the course itself, the 8-week spring course. But when we're in Berlin, you've been there so many times, you've done so many things. What are you most excited to show students?
Oh, well, you're right. I normally spend my summers in Berlin. I think what I'm looking forward to most is the opportunity to be with students in Berlin in May and not in December.
Yeah.
Because it gives us a wide array of opportunities. And if I think from a content perspective, what will be interesting is to explore German history in May when the weather is beautiful and connect that to a lot of things that we might think about as pop culture, because music historically has been pop culture, even in the 18th and 19th centuries. So I think that is one of the most interesting things for me, to connect politics, history, and then music. And students, no matter what kind of background they all have a connection to music.
Right. That's right.
And
go ahead, please. Yeah, please.
Well, I was going to say, I think all students have a connection to music and understand how music functions. You don't need to have a background in Germany and in German history to be able to understand and enjoy the role of music. And so I think that's going to be an interesting thing that we can introduce to students over the course of the program.
That's right. And I think what's so exciting about these travel courses is we hope to get, it's a richer experience, not just because of our diversity coming in from our perspectives, disciplinary perspectives, but the students and their interests and their backgrounds. And certainly we hope students of government politics, but students of music and students of German history and culture. But we hope students from all over campus decide to join us, both on the 8-week course, the political science course that we offer at the end of the semester, and also on the trip to Berlin, because it really is going to make the interaction much more lively when all those perspectives come to the table and can share. For me, I'm a punk rock kid. That was sort of my roots, hip hop and punk when I was younger. I still go to punk rock shows, and I'm excited the opportunities of modern punk rock in Berlin. There'll be chances for us to get to those shows. But really, even though it's not how I grew up, I was there last May and visited 2 of the 3 main opera houses, and to be able to take students into those spaces and introduce them to the art form of opera and the understanding about how it's impacted German culture and how German opera in particular has impacted the world, to be able to sit and watch these world-class performers in these remarkable venues, that's what I'm most excited about.
Well, those are good things, and it makes me think of one more thing, Dr. Caliendo, and that is when we think of how students are prepared. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is that students will have the chance to take our team-taught 8-week class during the spring semester. So students will be introduced to everything that we do and everything that we'll see prior to going abroad. And for me, that's very important. If we're studying abroad, it's important that students understand the cultural context, the historical and political context of what they do in advance, so they can take advantage of all the opportunities and not be burdened by, let's say, some of the information. They're going to have that information, these contexts and ways to think about everything they do prior to getting to Germany. And that, to me, is going to be one of the great things about the new courses that we offer at North Central College, insofar as they are the culmination point of an of a team taught course during the spring term, hopefully in person.
That's correct. And we will, we only have 7 days on the ground, 2 travel days. And so we got to really make the most of all those days. So we want to be ready to understand what the opera is about before we get to the opera house and really understand the history of how punk rock music started in both England and America simultaneously when we get to the Ramones Museum, which from some strange reason is in Berlin, but we're going to go to the Ramones Museum, which is filled with tremendous artifacts, but they'll be ready for all those things. So if a student wants to take the course, either the travel course alongside the 8-week course or just the 8-week course, what should they do?
They're going to need to contact one of us. If they want more information, they can always contact one of us. They can also contact the internationals, what's the name of the official name of the institute?
The Center for Global Education.
Center for Global Education. They can contact and get all the information there. Sorry for the stumbling, Stephen. But the students know that they have information from their advisors. But I think it's always my program has always been such that if students have questions, they can always contact me. If students' parents have questions about what we're doing or any of the logistics, I've spoken with parents now for 25 years about studying abroad components. But you mentioned
we want everybody to be comfortable, that's for sure.
Exactly. You mentioned something about punk rock and its role in Berlin. I need to digress just a bit. When we think of even the forerunners to punk rock, that is electronica. And when you think of electronica, all that comes from Berlin. There would be no punk rock if there were no Kraftwerk. And so that close component of German electronic and punk rock, we can explore it all.
Yeah, and one of the things I should say is, as much as we'll promise delivering some live music experiences, a lot of them while we're in there, one thing we won't be able to promise is access to the great clubs, because it's very difficult to get into those clubs. But we will certainly encourage students to figure out ways to get in, and we'll have lots of tips on how they should present themselves to the door people to make sure that they have a good chance to get in. But there will be opportunities to experience techno music, electronic dance music in Berlin. Maybe not at some of the most well-known clubs, but we'll do our best.
That's for sure.
It's good.
That's
all right.
Sure. It's going to be a wonderful time, Steve.
I can't wait, and I hope
it'll be a wonderful time.
I'm sure we'll have a great group of students, and we're going to learn a lot. It's good to see you, Dr.
Sure.
Yeah, stay
safe.
Good
to see you, Dr. Caliendo.
Bye.